Gary, you talked about the draw with Pittsburgh feeling a little bit like a missed opportunity after the match. How are you guys feeling ahead of the match against Loudoun with potential to move into the top spot in the East with a win?
Yeah, we'll know more about that on Friday night. I'm sure all the teams are looking at the other one's opponents. And New York have got a tough game against Charleston, who themselves are still looking for a playoff spot. So there's going to be some results that we've already seen that have dropped points for groups when you least expect it. And for others, they're going to tip the scales their way, and they're going to find a way forward and maybe towards the summit of the group. Somebody at some point, though, has got to take that by the scruff of the neck and say, this title's mine. But I think it's testimony to such a very, very evenly matched Eastern Conference. We're looking at a Loudoun group that have improved no end. Big win last night. They've got goals in them now. I think their new home has maybe given them a bit of a lift. Those young players have really settled into an Eastern Conference, and probably with some league games under their belt, feel a lot better about themselves. So we're expecting a very difficult encounter. We can make it as easy or as tough on ourselves as we like, and we're certainly looking at it from our angle that we have to attack the game. We certainly want to win the game, and if we can, who knows what the end of the day will bring.
You haven't played them since your first match of the season. Can you take anything from that match, or was that so long ago that it doesn't really matter at this
Not
point?
anymore. No, it's such a long time ago. Having watched footage of them, they've changed dramatically, whether that's personnel, which has rotated as you might expect constantly in a reserve or a two team, and some of those players, as I've said, they've moved on, they've developed, they're looking certainly more and more like a team that could compete in the Eastern Conference, where maybe early on, if I remember rightly, it took them a long time to get the group together, in fact probably at short notice. So they've come a long way, and they're a very different team.
You have Daniel back, it looks like Cameron's back. How do you fit those guys together towards the home stretch of the season?
Daniel's in a slightly different place to Cameron. Cameron's had an on-off season with different issues. At this point, I think, if I can get them on the field together at some point, that's wonderful. At this stage, it's a major benefit to me and to the team to have two guys like that. The fact that either Daniel's coming into the game for Cameron or Cameron for Daniel, with the different dimensions we've got in Tucker Hume and Rapapa Mensah, who was ill last week. These guys, as effective as anyone in this league. So I've got some really nice tools to work with. The players are inspired. We certainly look at these last four games as must-win games, all of them, and it will take us to where our destiny is going to lead us.
The match against Loudoun is your last game on the road, at least for the regular season, and then you're back at home. Do you feel like there's been a single issue that's caused maybe some drop points at home? And is there anything specific that can be done to fix that?
No, our away form's been very good. Yes, of course, there is a different type of game at home when teams come in and maybe even have a different mindset rather than maybe the expansive games that they play at home, which most teams try to. I think the biggest issue this year has been last year as an expansion group. I think most teams came into our home field thinking we can beat you. I think there's teams this year are thinking, okay, if we don't beat you, that's not a problem as long as we don't get beat. And it's a very different mindset. So you get a slight change in personnel, two forwards when you think you're going to win, or maybe we're playing extra midfield player today. It can change the dynamic of it. I think, looking back at the Pittsburgh game, and I said after the event, I begrudgingly look at what they achieved defensively with fondness, because they did a terrific job. I mean, it takes an awful lot to dig in as long as they have. It is a trait of that group that they do have great determination. And a player down, they showed all of that sort of mentality. However, I still look back on it and say we should have converted an opportunity that we had, and we had 4 or 5 moments that were probably 3 or 4 of them very clear cut, and the goalkeeper did very well, and we were unable to force it our way. But I think that's been the biggest difference this year.
Do you feel like it can almost be harder to create chances against a side like that once they've gone down to 10 men?
Yeah, if we're looking backwards still, I'd rather look forwards. But if we're looking backwards, then it can be tough. I think a lot of sides don't show the resilience that they did, and that's why they're now looking more and more like favourites to win the league. You know, the game at the weekend between them and Indy is possibly a championship-winning game. Both sides, I'm sure, will want to take it. Pittsburgh are in the better form. Their ground's not an easy place to go and play, but make no mistake, Indy are a very, very good side, and I'm sure they're hurting at the minute, and they'll want to put that right. So, you know, we can only deal with our own situation, though. We go to Loudoun at the weekend, who are a very dangerous side. Form has been on the upturn. They've had a glut of goals in the week, so I'm sure they'll be confident. You never ever know who's going to play. Sometimes have a more experienced side, or certainly a sprinkling of more experienced players. It can be very young, who knows, but that in itself can be a bit of a conundrum.
With the top of the table as tight as it's been, what's been your message to the side just before this last stretch of games?
Stay focused. You know, give every single game as much as you can, because I think all teams will look at it now and say, you know, if we fail to win this conference, every single team will look back on drop points. No doubt about it. It will be exactly the same if we don't win it. There's 5 teams as we look at it within, you know, an inch of one another in terms of what they can achieve. 2 of those teams have a slight advantage with a game in hand, but they play each other at the weekend. So you would think one of them might fall foul of that. And then, of course, we're forgetting about the current champions who are in a great run, and we've got to play. You know, if they can turn Tampa over at the weekend, they are well and truly in the mix, and they come into town very quickly against us. So the message is, win your games, make sure you give it everything, and have no regrets.
So you were out of the team for a little while, and now you're back. How are you feeling, just fitness-wise?
I'm getting my fitness back. I'm feeling better with my touches, with my game. It's good to have minutes. I have almost 2 games playing. It feels good to be back and try to help the team as much as I can. Of course, I lost a lot of fitness and my touch and everything, but it's getting back.
You guys had a couple of good chances against Pittsburgh in the first half. How do you feel like just the offense is, just as far as like being on the same page at this point?
It feels good because we create chances. It's positive, but of course we have to finish them. We have to score the goals to win the game. They have less man. We should have take those chances, and we will try to do the same, creating opportunities for this next game. Of course, try to score the goals.
You guys haven't played Loudoun since I believe it was the first match of the season. What have you seen from them this season, and what are you expecting on Saturday?
They improve a lot. They are not the same team as the beginning. The beginning they look like out of composure and not good organization. But they improve a lot. It seems like there are different players, but they are the same. They adapt each other. They know they have their style. They know how to play, and they have scored a lot of goals in the last few games.
You guys are just 1 point out of first at this point. Could potentially take the top spot with a win. How does that feel at this point in the season?
Yeah, all the team have in our mind that we need to win those 4 matches to end in first place. So having that thought in our mind, I think is positive to go and try to win the 4 games, but step by step. We will try to win this Saturday, and then we have a weekend off and try to win the next 3.
Cool. He's gonna get the rest of the questions, but I get the first one. Team of the week, finally, after almost 2 full seasons. You did it. What was the feeling like when you saw it after training on Tuesday?
Probably the biggest honor of my career. You know, for 9 years I've always been trying to get Team of the Week, but I finally did it. No, sorry, let's leave that one out. No, it's nice to be recognized. I think anytime someone in the back gets it when you don't have any offensive stats, it's attributed to the whole back line, so it could have been anybody for us. 2 shutouts in the week is always nice, so that's what happens.
Speaking of the back line, you guys have been in pretty good form recently. I think it conceded 6 and 12 or something along those lines. How do you feel like defensively you've been able to shut teams down?
Yeah, I think we're just very organized back there. Obviously got a lot of experience, and the group's kind of interchanged a little bit. Ken moving up to the midfield, and then so a lot of interchange with whoever's back there, but there's a same consistent goal to shut teams out and just be stable back there.
Gary talked about feeling like a opportunity missed after the Pittsburgh draw. How do you guys move on from that and move on to Loudoun this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough game, very crowded and tough to break through. I think it was always going to be that way. So, I mean, as a defender, you're happy with the shutout. But moving forward, I think we got 3 out of the last 4 at home. Results have been going our way. So if we take care of business against teams like Loudoun, Atlanta, we should put ourselves in a good position.
With does the opportunity to potentially go into top of the table, does that change things at all, or is it just still another match for you guys?
It's a goal of ours for sure. Like I said, with the results going our way, we're still in that mix, but it's extremely tight. You can go from 1st to 5th in the blink of an eye. So anywhere in that top 4, I think we'll be happy with, but it would be nice to get a top spot.